I remembered. I'm so happy. All right. So, recap. We learned about a couple of harmonic structures on Friday. The chord of stability and the chord of motion. The figure base representing the chord of stability is 5-3. And the chord of motion is 6-3, the chord of the fifth and the chord of the sixth, respectively. And we saw that we could write up and down an octave by starting and ending on 5-3s, putting some 6-3s in between. There are also alternating patterns that tend to show up sometimes. And so we're going to do a baseline harmonization today. Oh, goes the key of B flat today.
I love this key.
Yes. And we're going to harmonize a scale going down. Everybody's favorite. Do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, and we'll slow it down so we can end on do on a downbeat. Because I like to stomp on downbeats. It's a good place to start. So, of course, at the start of the piece, I want to have some stability. And so I should start on a do 5-3. And we shall give this chord its full name. The 5-3 chord built on do in the key of B flat major. It's the most stable chord in existence. In fact, not only do we start on do 5-3, we're going to end on do 5-3. Great starting and ending place.
So it's going to be like do, mi, and sol.
Ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Yes.
You said the do B flat major is the most stable chord in existence. Is that just universal for all?
Oh, the do 5-3 in any given key is the most stable chord in existence. So it has nothing to do with B flat major. It has to do with the strength of do coupled with sol and mi. Yep, good question. All right, let's do things like this. Let's do an alternating between stability and motion. Stability, motion, stability,
Mi and sol
motion.
back down to me.
We're going to do a dance.
Dances are fun.
Because dancers move back and forth between places of stability and motion. So we'll do an old dance pattern. It's known as the Romanesca. Romanesca, old dance. We're going to learn a couple different Romanescas today. And so I'm going to alternate between motion and stability. So I'm going to start off with a chord of stability. And then I'm going to do a chord of motion. I'm going to do T, 5-3 or 6-3?
6-3.
6-3, motion. Stability, La, 5-3.
Wow, the sol's
Stability, motion, Sol, 6-3. Which is a little bit counterintuitive because we're used to thinking of do and sol as being the strongest notes in the key, and so we're used to do 5-3 and sol 5-3. This, however, is a different pattern. The sol is not acting like a strong point. It's acting as a passing point. Which will, however, take us to stability,
5-3.
Fa 5-3, followed by motion,
6-3.
6-3, and then we're going to tack on a cadence at the end.
So it's going to be another stability.
The re is going to be
5-3.
unstable.
So
Cadence
6-3, 6-3.
Resolving to here, so we're going to do a 6-3 on the re.
Interesting.
Make our cadence stick. Because What are my other cadential voices? What's up a 6 from Ray?
T. T. Yeah,
T, yes. And Ray Do and T Do makes a cadence.
Oh.
So there's the 6-3 there.
Tricky, tricky.
Yeah. By the way, thinking of the 3, what's up a 3rd from Ray?
So,
Fa, and fa is part of which sounds?
An alti.
And altisons. And that fa is going to resolve to me, yes.
I'm learning.
Yes. Good. Let's do some writing. Let's make the more interesting line first. We'll give the more interesting line to the soprano. Parallel thirds. So if this is going do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do, and you can see every chord has a third in it.
It's gonna go mi, re, do.
Mi,
Re,
re,
ti, la,
do,
fa, mi.
ti, la, sol, fa, mi. Love it. We know that parallel thirds work and sound great.
If you would have gone back up, it would have definitely sound like that.
Yeah.
Taco Bell, that's his name.
The Pachelbel is a Romanesca. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's add in our other voice. Up a 5th from B flat.
Soul. Whoa, wait. Well. B flat, D, D, E,
And
F.
so on the key of B flat is in fact F. Up a 6 from A. Also an F. Turns out if I keep that note the same and move this note from a 5th to a 6th, it works. Up a 5th from La. Or from G.
C. No.
D.
Yeah.
Which is the same as up a 6 from F. So, so, mi, mi, do, do. Let's set up our consonants. Ooh, let's do a compound cadence. Dissonant do, resolving to T. How far above Ray is do? 7th, so we're going to do 7/6 suspension.
Cool.
This is why I left the space there. Do, T, do. And now we have a full voice Romanesca.
Oh, you wrote Romanesca up there and I still spelled it wrong.
It worked, it's so nice. This is the variant of the Romanesca known as the stepwise Romanesca. Bass by step. Do, T, La, Sol, Fa, Mi. And that's as far as the Romanesca goes. At that point, we would tend to end with a cadence. And maybe I go down, maybe I come up and do a fa sol do in the bass. This. Oops. Changed up the cadence at the end. I went to a full cadence instead of a ooh. which zones is in the bass?
Oh, well, that's right.
Tenori zones. Mm-hmm. The tenor cadence puts the tenori zones in the bass, also called, the proper term for it is the clausula vera, which means true cadence. It's the oldest style of cadence. It's where we have a melody in the bass instead of the bass jumping around doing tuba parts. AKA the contrapuntal cadence. It's where the melody is in the bass has more of a melody line, and so it's any mi, re, do instead of jumping around like sol, do.
Have you taught us that clausula vera before?
It's entirely possible I mentioned it because we're still in the review process.
I feel like we've mentioned it, but I can't, like, I don't know.
And when we get back up to Jazz Festival, we start chapter 3 of the book, which is all about cadences.
That's next week. When do we, oh, we find out about that this week at Combo?
At Combo, yep.
Okay, cool. 'Cause
All right. Let's change things up a little bit. Let's do this. Let's put the parallel thirds in the middle voice.
Oh, so we're gonna take it higher?
Yeah, put the soprano up top and do something else with the soprano.
Interesting.
Good, which means we're going to start on the sol. Now, I could just, duplicate that sol, sol, mi, mi, do, do, ti, do voice, like this. At this point, my sopranos are complaining that their part is boring.
Oh, you mean like bass does all the time?
Bass is used to it. Little diva sopranos. They're not used to that.
Why'd you say that?
So, yeah, always making fun of them. I make fun of all the voice types at some point in this class.
Diana complains about her part all the time.
So let's make the soprano part more interesting by making it not repeat notes.
So we're doing passing tones or something?
Well, if I do passing tones, I'm gonna have a problem.
I don't know, I'm just trying to tell you my.
It was a good thought. It's a good thought, but it's gonna cause a problem for me.
Neighborhood, no, passing notes, neighborhood.
Let's find out what problem that would cause if I did passing tones like that.
Probably some dissonance.
B flat to F is how far? It's a fifth. Good. A to E is how far?
Pretty far.
A fifth. Where do we have parallel fifths? Everywhere.
Which makes them.
Soprano happiness is not that important. It's important, but not that important. We're not going to let this soprano skid around them. Why have parallel fifths until we get to WC. Which means we're going to do consonant skips instead. We're going to move somewhere to a consonants. Okay. How are you going to know the possible notes that a soprano can skip to above an A?
Because we know which notes are dissonance and which ones are consonants.
Just know which notes are dissonances and consonants based on the definition of the figured bass. Can I skip to a seventh?
No.
No, that's a dissonance. Can I skip to a sixth?
Yes.
Yes, there's a sixth in that chord. Can I skip to a fifth?
Well, you don't do it all the time.
We don't want to, because the first note was the fifth.
Is there a fifth in this chord?
No,
Therefore, in the context of this chord, a fifth is a
isn't it?
dissonance.
So we can only skip the sixth and third.
We can skip to 6/3 and one other,
Octave.
octaves.
Let's go.
Those are what are permitted at this point. All right. If I'm on an F, well, the 6 is the F. And we were getting rid of it because it was too boring for us to pass. So we're going to go to a 6. So I crossed that off the option, which leaves our possibility of a third or an octave with the bass. What's up a third from A?
C.
C.
Yeah, C.
Well, if I skip up to this C, that's a big skip. And the C to this D is a ridiculous skip there.
We don't like that, so we want to sit.
Well, I don't want to do that, so we'll skip down the third. Although now,
Now we're
it's a little bit
stacking up.
confusing which note is being sung here. That's probably a bad share. Let's try somewhere else. Let's try going to the, yeah, let's do this. Yeah.
We're about to learn something.
I'm going to play just the soprano line over the top of the bass. That was a nice line, wasn't it? Totally was. That worked. If I put it into the full chordal section, it's going to sound a little bit more hollow. Did you hear how it suddenly went to 2 instead of 3?
I still kind of like it though.
So it's a good line by itself. We have to be careful in context because it kind of suddenly goes hollow on the 6/3 as it goes on the 2/2 voice texture. Let's try the other version instead. I'm going to remember that one. That was cool. Skip down and step up. Okay, so instead, let's try, we tried thirds, we tried sixths, which means the thing that must be left is to skip to the octave. Let's try that one, see if we like it. I like that one less than the other one.
Yeah, I like the other one.
Something's weird there.
Were you playing it right?
I'll tell you what's weird. It's the fact that I hear a fifth on the outer voices going to an octave on the outer voices. And so the outer voices are always these fifths and octaves. There's no thirds or sixths. There's no warmth to that line. So the other one was a better line where it skipped down a fourth and went
So
up
you're
a step.
saying it doesn't sound like it's actually moving, even though it is, it doesn't sound like full and move like.
It doesn't sound as full.
constantly?
Yeah, the way we perceive it is not as promising as it had seemed when we first looked at it. That happens often in life, doesn't it? Something looks like it's going to be really awesome, and then you get it, you're like, oh, okay, it sucked.
This perfect doesn't look like it.
No.
Commercial.
I hate when it happens. It's like when it looks really good on the menu and you're like, I want that, and you get it and it looks like crap when you get it.
Let's try this solution. Let's get the parallel thirds up here. And let's take the skipping line and let's put it down below.
Piano class is going off right now.
Yeah, crazy.
Parallel thirds.
We like parallel thirds.
Love parallel thirds.
We changed it.
So pretty. Means I can't go do ti la sol fa mi re do in the bass anymore because this voice is going do ti la sol fa mi re do. So I need to do something else with the bass. So I remember the line that I erased up top. Started in F and it skipped down to C and then stepped up by step to the. So let's do that down a fourth, up a step.
Down a fourth, up a step.
Yes. So do down a fourth,
Sol,
sol,
la,
up a step to la. Skip down a fourth.
fa, no,
Or B flat F, G down a fourth.
la, sol, fa, mi.
Which is a D. Up a step,
Fa,
fa,
do,
do,
re.
re, and let's make it a hybrid cadence. So I don't go re, re, do, and then create parallel octaves. We'll go re, sol, do,
Hey, we like sol,
fa, si,
do.
sans,
That's the box.
sol, do. Okay, so now my bass line goes do, sol, la, mi, fa, do, re, sol, do. And we'll stack on that hybrid cadence.
Agreed.
Hybrid cadence. So what? F to an A,
Third.
third. F to a C,
Third. No, it's not the fifth.
fifth. So sol 5 3.
Sol, fa, mi.
La what?
La, well, there's obviously gonna be a third,
Mhm.
because they're parallel thirds. But that is a G to a B, which is a third.
Mhm.
Oh, wait, I was trying to do the other one. G to a G.
And an octave.
That's
Now, I have
octave.
just an octave and a third. It usually implies a fifth.
Oh, this is the 5-3 song.
Me?
That's a D to a F. So that's a third.
Mhm.
And then D to a.
Is it 5-3?
Also 5 3. Fa,
Is it another 5?
5 3. There's a pattern, isn't there?
I'm gonna guess the next one's
Do?
5-3.
5 3. Sure enough. Ready.
I don't trust it. I want to say that one's also gonna be a 5-3.
It is a
Just
5-3.
because the sol is the only one that's out of place.
Sol.
That's an F to a C.
Mhm.
It's
That's
a 5.
a 5.
fifth, yeah, and then the F to the E is the
7. So if I have a 7 5, it implies a 7 5 3.
Oh, we learned the name of that, which was,
It's a circle of fifths motion. It's just 2 5 1 at the end of this one.
that's a dissonant chord.
And it is, it's a dissonance, because the sol to fa is a dissonance, and then it resolves. It's a lovely sound. All right, let's check this one out.
Is it just gonna sound really stable?
This is totally the Paco Buchanan version of this. Put it in the key of D major. G, D, E, F sharp, G, D. And you've got,
So you did just play
Paco
it,
Buchanan.
you just played it in a different key.
I played, this is basically Paco Buchanan in a different key, except it changes at the end. It doesn't go re, sol, do. It goes fa, sol at the end. Fa, sol,
Interesting.
which is a very common bass line. I haven't taught you that one yet, so we're not gonna worry about it yet. But now I've got a stepwise, well, not stepwise, a Romanesca that involves not stepwise motion, but skips or leaps. And so we call this one the leaping Romanesca. Do, And that one lets me do the parallel thirds on top of the melody. The other hand is the parallel thirds between the bass and one of the top voices. This one, the Leaping Romanesque, lets all three voices be interesting. It's very popular for that matter. All right. There's one other version, shorter version of the Romanesque. And it has a different melodic structure. I'm going to cadence the end here. It's shorter. Stops here. All right. It has skipping and stepping elements. And it goes stable, motion, stable. Motion, not me 5/3, but me 6/3. That. And then usually goes into mi, fa, sol, do. We will learn when we talk about cadences, we will learn that very often, especially in the 18th century, the Galant period, that the bass line is cadenced with mi, fa, sol, do. It's very common. Any of you know Birdland? That's the bass line for the whole thing. Mi, fa, sol, mi, fa, sol, do. Mi, fa, sol, mi, fa, sol, do. It's a very, very common bass line. And Birdland does that for the entire piece. So this is a cadence. And it overlaps and connects that way. All right. And the typical melody line on this one is do, sol, do, sol.
Yes. Do, sol.
You might actually know this one. It's another Romanesque. This particular one. And it could be do, sol here, or it could be what? Or. What else could I have than mi 6/3? Mi to sol so far. Third. Or I could have the 6, which would be mi to do a 6. I'm sorry, I just gave you the right answer.
Yeah, it's a do.
Mi of a 6 is a do.
But then it'd be do.
So you go here or here, depending on what you're doing. Elvis holds on to the do. And then decorative notions. Yeah. It's a Romanesque.
Do you know the rest of it?
The rest of it isn't a Romanesque.
The rest of it isn't?
The rest of it isn't a
Google
Romanesque.
it real quick.
It's a different structure.
I need the rest of it.
This version we call a Galant Romanesque, named for that 18th century where it's very, very popular.
Sounds like Gallivant, but like not.
Yeah.
Is it during that time era?
Oh, it's much later.
Much later?
Yeah.
Roman.
The Galant Romanesque. The bass line goes. It's like this one, do key.
That's gonna be stuck in my head all day.
La, mi,
Not there.
elements of the leaping version. Oh, not 5/3, 6/3, 5/3, 6/3, 5/3,
6-3.
6-3. It does the alternating strong, weak with a step first and then a skip. It's a lovely little version. And then cadence. Romanescus. Or maybe I can do other versions of this.
Why would you? That's perfect. Elvis is perfect. That sounded familiar.
Lots of 18th century pieces of music have that, particularly things written by Winichka. Polish composer loves that particular gesture. Instead of going do sol, did anyone pick up what he started on in the melody?
Solfeggio. I don't know.
Half
Say
right.
it again.
Oh, let's get to there. Why not? Did the melody move at the beginning?
No.
No, hold on to it because unstatic. Sol sol, does that work? Ah, and you heard me go not down sol down to this do, but you heard me go sol la ti ti do, and then a little bit of a retardation across the measure there.
Yeah, I was listening.
So that structure was sol sol. Now let's get to sol there. Now let's say do a converging half cadence. How about? No. We'll talk about those when we get to cadences. Sure sounds nice.
It did sound really cool, but it still didn't sound funny.
When you know structures, you can start putting
It
together
sounds like
these
a
structures, and
half-cadence.
suddenly it sounds like a nice piece of music. It was a type of half cadence.
See, I pay attention to you.
So, Romanescas.
It's
3
Monday.
flavors of Romanescas. Stepwise. Do 5-3, T6-3, La 5-3, Sol 6-3, Fa 5-3. Moving through. The leaping Romanesca. Do 5-3, Sol 5-3, La 5-3, Mi 5-3, Sol 5, Fa 5-3, Do 5-3. Leaping all over the place, all 5-3, so, and then the balance between the Do 5-3, T6-3, La 5-3, Mi 6-3 into the Fa.
These are all dances?
They're all dances, yeah.
Cool.
So what is
With
like
the,
the,
yeah.
what is the fraction movement, the number?
What does the figured bass means? It means the intervals of the consonants above the bass.
Yeah, so a fifth from one, like a fifth from do and a third from do. A sixth from T and a third from T.
Those are the notes of the chord.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
Question. Would the gallant one be more of like a slow waltzy type?
Depends on how you write it. Could you write it in 3? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Let's try it. Yes. You can very easily do the 3. Because it turns out any of them actually work in any meter. It's just a matter of
The way you're
what
playing
rhythm
that-
of diminutions do you write.
So which one is usually used for like the slow type waltzy one?
Really, it's more about time periods.
Okay, so like.
This is the original.
Okay.
As with so much pop music, it's all 5/3. 5/3 chords lend themselves very well to the pop music type setting, whether that's 14th, 15th century pop music, or whether it's 20th, 21st century pop music. Pop music likes the 5/3 chords. And so this one's actually the oldest version. And so when Pachelbel writes his celebrated canon in D, it's a very old-fashioned piece even at the time he writes it. Yeah.
How old is that guy?
Then it evolved into this one, and
Well, yeah,
then
no,
into
like, how
kind of
old-
this one shortly thereafter.
no, like, when was his time period? When was Taco Bell?
Well, it's not the 1790s. Rob Parabian got that wrong when he said, VH1, I love the 1790s. It was a good gag, but it wasn't what he actually wrote that.
I'm sure this is stuff we'll learn in music history too, though.
He was off by a century. He should have said, I love the 1690s, because Pachelbel's canon in D was written in 1680. I guess he should have said VH1's I love the 1680s. So there you have it. It's the older style. And then in the 18th century, this 1700s, this really became the new thing. And this being a modification of this.
So what you're saying is it was really hitting Romanesque. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
That was what was commonly used before modernization.
All right, I need one more.
One more, what?
One more bass pattern.
Okay,
For our review.
can we start on Sol? We're always starting on Do. And we're not allowed to start on Mi.
I
So,
will allow you to start on me today. How about that? We'll compromise.
so we're starting on D.
I'll start on me. Go to a Fa. Then I'm going to do this.
Okay. So it's Mi, Fa, which, and then it would go, are we going up?
Well, let's do a little bit of writing and see. First of all, I'd expect, like, what line would sound good against a bass line?
On D, off is on.
Parallel
So it'd be,
thirds. So let's do some thirds. Third. Third. But you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to take this line. I would like to go down the octave with it. Let's go Sol. Fa. Mi. You know what? Fa, mi. Cantizans. Or not cantizans. Artisans. At the end of there. Make this short. Okay. I mean, if I was going to write parallel thirds, I wouldn't do this, would I?
That E can't be there.
That E can't be there if I'm doing parallel thirds. If I was doing parallel thirds, I'd write what here? Mi, fa,
E,
mi,
Re,
re,
Do.
do. Boom. However, that's not what I'm going to do. I want to hold on to that E flat.
And then we're gonna go back down to the D.
I need to resolve that. Bass becomes a dissonance. How far is it from E flat to F? It's a second. Good. Second, of course, being a dissonance, and a second makes a 2 resolving into a third.
We need to go back to a D.
2, 2 or 3. That's tight.
Cross, so now you go down to a C.
A 2 that must resolve to a 3. And now I've got a mi, re, so let's go mi, re, and end it.
Now,
Two horizons. All right. That's odd. So I got some 2-3 chains here. Got a 3 and a 3 here. Of course, if I'm ending a third here and a ray dough, I probably want to go one above it. I've got a ray dough in the base and a fa mi here. I probably want to Tito put the cantizans in it.
Yep, that's what I'm at.
Tito. C to A is how far?
That's it. No, C to A.
Sixth chord motion. Love it. All right. Patterns. If this is a 2 resolving to 6-3, then this 3 here should probably be a 6-3. Make the pattern happen. All right. And let's go ahead and we'll see where we go from here. All right. So I need a friend with a 2. And it turns out that the typical motion is a 4 and a 2. Up a 4th from E flat. B, close. A, E, F, G, A. There's my 4th. Bass line's about to resolve. I've got a 3rd and I probably want a 6th. Oh, I see a pattern emerging. Up a 4th from D. G. Up a step, down a 3rd. The pattern is up a step, down a 3rd, which means if I walk it back to the previous measure,
It's gonna go up a step. No, up a 3rd.
what would be good notes to plug in here to make this pattern continue?
Well,
Start by reducing it down to just the downbeat notes. G, A,
B,
B. Up a step,
C.
C, down a 3rd.
Yes.
That would sound good
I
on
was trying
that.
to go backwards, which was hurting my brain.
Now, practice doing our figured bass analysis. You know this is a 3rd. Those are what's?
Well, that's a D to a
D to B flat, how far?
that's it.
6th. Both of them move up by step. E flat to C.
6.
Also 6 got a little 4 bow down in the measure. Let's parallel 6-3s with the 6 on top. All right, let's see what the 4-2 sound like when we hit them.
Probably not good.
Ooh, that was nice. And then hit the 4-2. It's a striking dissonance, isn't it? As the top voices move into dissonance with the bass, forcing the bass to resolve. It's a great sound. I gotta start from the beginning. We're gonna land on the 4-2. Isn't that lovely, that 4-2 moving to the 6-3? So let's start on Do 5-3. And then move to Do 4-2. Which has to move to, maybe bring it down at 4-2 again. Resolve to the 6-3, then crunch. Resolve. that 4-2 moving to a 6-3, we've got a new dissonance. New dissonance. I learned the other day about the 7-5-3. This is a new one. 4-2. What did the bass do to set us up for the 4-2?
Hold on to the six.
It held on. It tied across. Yes. So the 4-2 harmonizes a tied bass. So it ties from the previous consonants. The bass holds on. The other voices strike the 4 and the 2 with the bass. And then the bass must move down by step into a 6-3. Let's make a big chain of 4-2s. Let's start with the 5-6 motion, because that's always nice to stabilize, destabilize. Then we'll tie the bass across and do some tie basses. Tie. And I'll end with a compound cadence. All right. Tied bass, I'm going to harmonize with the what? And turn it, tie into a 4-2. And that 4-2, the bass is going to step down into a 6-3. Tie it. 4-2, step down into a, tie it,
4-2.
step down into a,
6-3.
love it, tie it,
4-2.
step into a,
6-3.
tie it,
4-2.
step into a,
6-3.
set up a compound cadence. Ends on a do,
Which is a 5-3.
5-3.
So if it's a compound cadence, doesn't that make it a 6-3 again?
It's going to, a simple cadence will be 6-3. The compound, I'm going to do something, make,
It's
decorate the 6 with a
7.
7-6,
So
yes.
it's a 7-6.
With the 3.
What did you call it earlier? 7-6. There was another word after it, but oh well.
7-6 suspension.
That.
I suspend the 7th across the measure and then resolve it down into the 6th. All right, let's write it. 5 and a 3. Well, let's start with our
Thirds. Let's just do parallel thirds first.
except I don't always get the parallel thirds.
Well.
That's okay. Start with the third.
Well, that's a B flat.
B flat up a third.
Let's see. D.
D. Good. Up a 2 from the B flat, which is the same as up a third from the A.
C.
C. That's going to strike the dissonance. C against the B flat. Continue it. Up a 2, up a 3.
Well, from the A. Up 2.
Next note from A is
B.
B. Do you see the pattern? D, C, B,
A,
A,
G,
G, F,
E.
Fa,
And then
Mi.
Oh yeah, Fa Mi, which is all these on.
Artisans. Good, quickly, 5, 6. 5th up from B flat.
So which is F.
6. G. Good. Up a 4th from B flat. Or, I'm landing on the 3rd on the downbeat. Either way, it gives you an E. Follow the pattern. Up by step, down by third. Up by
Step,
step, down by
a third,
third.
up
By?
a step, down a third, up step, down a third, up a step, down a third, up a step.
Create the compound cadence. Do, T, So,
Yes.
lovely, right? Great. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.